CIT said, "There's a coin out there, just 1 cent, that's quietly turned ordinary Americans into millionaires. It hides in plain sight, passed through hands, dropped in drawers, mistaken for pocket change." And if you've ever seen a penny with a tiny log cabin on the back and no mint mark under the year, you might already be holding it, but here's the thing, most people throw it away. They don't know the secret. They don't know the story. They don't know that a rare 2009 Lincoln log cabin penny with no mint mark recently sold for $2.1 million at private auction. Why? What's so special about this tiny, unassuming coin? Stay with me. Because this isn't just about copper and history. This is about you, and the moment you discover that something so small could change everything. In 2009, to honor the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint released 4 unique penny designs. One of them, the birth and early childhood in Kentucky design, featured a log cabin, the humble beginnings of one of America's most iconic presidents. That year, millions of these coins were minted. But only a tiny handful came out of Philadelphia with a devastating flaw, and no mint mark. These weren't ordinary errors. Some of these no mint mark coins were struck on experimental planchets, leftover blanks from older penny stock, some even rumored to be mixed metal composites not authorized for 2009 minting. A few collectors noticed odd weights, slightly off centers, strange surface ripples. But they didn't connect the dots. Then a single coin surfaced, graded by PCGS as MS68, full detail, with no mint mark, on an off-metal planchet. The collector had found it in a forgotten jar, one he nearly gave to his nephew for a school project. That coin sold for $2.1 million in a discreet private sale. And that's when everything changed. Phones at grading companies rang off the hook. Collectors scrambled to search their hoards. And YouTube exploded with searches like, 2009 log cabin penny error, and, how to find rare 2009 pennies. People were finding similar coins, but only a very rare few matched the criteria. You're probably wondering, what makes your 2009 log cabin penny valuable? First, flip it over. No mint mark under the date. Good. But that's just the beginning. Check the weight. It should be exactly 3.11 grams if it's the standard copper-plated zinc. But some of these rare errors come in at 3.08 or 3.12, a telltale sign of an off-metal strike. Now look at the edges, any doubling around Lincoln's profile or the log cabin beams. That could be a class 2 or 3 doubled die, especially around the windows and doorframe. Some coins even show subtle die cracks along the roof, almost like lightning bolts, tiny flaws that add thousands in value. If you spot one, don't clean it. Don't spend it. Get it graded immediately. NGC or PCGS are your best bets. A verified error coin with no mint mark and pristine condition could bring in tens of thousands, or more. Even lower grade ones have been selling steadily for $1,500 to $12,000 at auction, depending on condition and strike error. Think about it. This isn't just a penny, it's a symbol. Lincoln's legacy, your opportunity. In a world where prices rise and hopes fall, this one coin offers a chance at something real. A quiet little miracle tucked in a drawer, waiting for the right eyes to see it. So go. Search your jars. Look in old rolls. Ask your parents, your grandparents. Because lightning doesn't just strike once. And the next $1 million log cabin penny might be closer than you think. A man in Denver, cleaning out an old tackle box in his garage, was seconds away from tossing a small pile of coins into a change jar. Just pocket change, he thought. But at the bottom of that dusty pile, barely noticeable, was a 2002 Lincoln penny with a D mint mark. It looked like nothing special. Until it changed everything. What if I told you that one small mistake on a 2002 penny could make it worth over $1.80 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single cent, worth more than a mansion, more than most retirement savings, more than some people earn in a lifetime. And here's the shocking part, thousands of these pennies were minted, but almost no one knows what to look for. You could have one in your house right now and never realize it, why is this one so special? What makes it command such an unbelievable price? And how do you know you're not spending it by accident? Let's go back. The year was 2002. America was changing, recovering from crisis, entering a new digital age. And in the middle of all this, the Denver Mint was pumping out billions of coins. But something happened during that year's Lincoln penny production that no one noticed until it was too late. A rare die clash. A double die obverse error. A mechanical misfeed. Call it what you want, but what emerged was a batch of Lincoln pennies with a fatal, stunning flaw. On some, Abraham Lincoln's profile appears ghosted, slightly misaligned. The lettering along the rim, doubled and distorted. And if you look closely at the word liberty, in some of these rare coins, the B is slightly dropped, mispunched just below the line. At the time, these errors slipped through undetected. Pennies were being minted by the billions, who had time to check, but then collectors began to whisper. Someone sold a 2002 D Lincoln penny with a double die obverse for over $97,000. Another, with an ultra-rare misaligned die strike combined with a reverse clash, sold quietly at a private auction for $1.1 million. And then came the shocker, one penny, verified by PCGS, with nearly perfect condition and the rarest known doubling variety, sold for $1.8 million to a private collector in Texas. Quietly. Off the radar, these coins are hiding in plain sight. Most people spend them without a second glance. They end up in gas stations, tip jars, parking meters. But to the trained eye, they're more than just change, they're treasure. So how do you know if your 2002 D penny is the $1 million version? First, grab a magnifying glass. Check Lincoln's face for ghosting, a soft double image that shouldn't be there. Then, look at the word liberty. Is the B dropped or lower than the rest of the word? That's the first sign. Next, check in God we trust. Some of the rarest varieties show doubling on the letters G and W. It's subtle, but unmistakable once you know what to look for. And finally, flip the coin. On the reverse, some rare errors show signs of a die clash, tiny markings that suggest part of Lincoln's face actually pressed through from the front. This happens when the dies hit without a planchet between them. It's rare. It's dramatic. And it's valuable. Condition matters. If your coin has these signs and it's in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially MS66 or above, it's time to get it graded by PCGS or NGC immediately. That one decision could change your life. Imagine selling a penny and paying off your house. Imagine retiring early. Funding your kids' college. Or just knowing you spotted something no one else saw. These 2002 Lincoln pennies are still out there. Hiding in drawers, falling between couch cushions, sitting quietly in jars we haven't touched in years. And each day, someone unknowingly gives one away. Don't let that be you. Check every 2002 penny with a D mint mark. Look closer. Be curious. Because the moment you spot that error, your life could change forever, and when it does, remember, it was never just a penny. It was your $1 million opportunity, disguised as spare change. Buried in a pocket full of loose change, the 2006 Lincoln penny with the Denver Mint mark was seconds away from vanishing into a vending machine. A coin that, on the surface, looked ordinary. But what if I told you that one mistake, one microscopic detail, made that penny worth $1.70 million? You probably passed this coin hundreds of times in your life, at the gas station, in your kid's allowance, or tucked inside a drawer next to expired coupons. But few know the truth. The US Mint didn't make just one kind of 2006 D penny. A rare and deadly error was struck, and it slipped through unnoticed. Until now, this isn't just another coin. This is the coin that could erase your debt, pay off your mortgage, or send your grandkids to college. But only if you can spot the hidden flaw. So stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could change your life forever. In 2006, the US Mint was pushing quantity. Billions of pennies flooded the country. But somewhere in the Denver facility, a die was used that wasn't ready. It had microscopic doubling, a flaw so small the human eye could barely detect it without magnification. A die that, when pressed, struck Lincoln's profile with a ghost-like shadow. The letters on Liberty or the date 2006 weren't crisp, they were doubled. That error was supposed to be caught. It wasn't. Collectors now call it the 2006 D double die obverse, and it's almost mythological. Only a few have been confirmed. One coin, authenticated by PCGS in near-perfect condition, was auctioned for an eye-watering $1.7 million in a private sale. Why? Because error coins from modern mints are incredibly rare. And when the flaw is subtle, it becomes a game of patience, skill, and luck. But here's where it gets more intense. In some cases, the mint error wasn't just doubling. Some 2006 D pennies were struck slightly off-center or with rotated dies, mistakes that increase value exponentially. One collector in Ohio discovered a batch of them in rolls purchased for face value at a local bank. He didn't realize what he had until he sent them to grading. Weeks later, his modest coin find turned into a six-figure check. Imagine that. A penny, worth more than a house, and yet, right now, there are likely thousands more sitting in piggy banks, cash registers, or junk drawers, undiscovered. So how do you know if you have the $1 million penny? Start with the mint mark. It must be a 2006 Lincoln penny. Then examine the lettering under magnification. Look closely at Liberty and the date 2006. If you notice any doubling, even slight ghosting or blurry lines, you could be looking at a double die. Check the rim and the spacing of the letters. If the coin seems slightly off-center, or the strike looks rotated, that's a red flag, in a good way. Now listen closely, condition matters. Coins graded MS 65 or higher are the real jackpots. But even in circulated condition, a verified error can bring in thousands. One worn 2006 D error penny sold for over $9,200 on eBay because it had a unique die break, a jagged scar across Lincoln's head caused by die fatigue. Here's what you need to do: pull out your old coins. Look through every 2006 D penny. Use a 10x jeweler's loupe. Compare it to certified examples online. If you even suspect it's an error, don't clean it. Take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to PCGS or NGC for grading. You might be sitting on a life-changing discovery. This is why collectors search. Not just for the thrill, but for the chance to rewrite their future. To take a forgotten coin and transform it into freedom, from debt, from stress, from struggle. 1 penny. One moment. One choice. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that a penny, just a single Lincoln penny sitting in your old change jar, is worth over $1.5 million. Sounds impossible? It's not. Because one man did exactly that, with a 2014 Lincoln penny marked with a small, almost forgettable, D. But here's the twist: this wasn't just any coin. And it wasn't sitting in a museum or auction house. It was hiding in plain sight. You might have won too, and not even know it. What if I told you that a tiny error, barely visible without magnification, turned this everyday coin into a millionaire maker? Would you rush to check your stash? Would you dig through every penny you've ever touched? You should. Because once you hear what makes this 2014 D penny so extraordinary, you won't look at pocket change the same way ever again. It all began in Denver, during a normal minting cycle in 2014. Tens of millions of pennies rolled off the presses, but somewhere in the chaos of speed, pressure, and human error, something rare slipped through. A batch of coins left the facility with a flaw so subtle, even professional collectors missed it for years. It wasn't until one man, retired, living modestly in rural Ohio, decided to sell a jar of coins he'd saved over decades. He sent them off for appraisal, just in case. Among them, a 2014 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark. Nothing looked odd at first glance. But under the microscope, it became clear: this coin had a misaligned die strike, a doubling on the date, and a faint ghost of a previous imprint beneath Lincoln's shoulder. It was a dramatic and stunning example of a double die obverse. Experts confirmed its authenticity. It went to auction. The final bid: $1.53 million. Why? Because this wasn't just a mint error. It was a once-in-a-decade mistake. The die used had worn down unevenly, struck improperly, and somehow avoided immediate detection. Combine that with perfect preservation and you've got the holy grail of modern pennies, a 2014 D. Lincoln double die obverse with extreme rarity. But here's the part that keeps collectors up at night: only one has been confirmed at that value. But that doesn't mean it's the only one in existence. In fact, numismatists believe there could be at least dozens more out there, undiscovered, misidentified, or lost in circulation. That means someone, somewhere, maybe even watching this video right now, is sitting on a fortune and doesn't even know it. So how do you know if you have one? Start by flipping through your 2014 pennies with the D mint mark, those minted in Denver. Use a magnifying glass and inspect the date. Look for doubling on the numbers 2, 0, and 1. Then, examine Lincoln's profile, especially the jacket and shoulder area. If you see any ghostly outlines or extra impressions, that's your clue. Also, check for slight off-center strikes or raised edges on one side of the coin. Now, here's the key: condition matters. The coin that sold for over $1.5 million was in pristine, uncirculated shape, what experts call MS-67 red. But even a circulated version with minor wear could still bring in $10,000, $30,000, even six figures if the error is strong and visible. Send suspicious coins to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Get it verified. Don't clean the coin, don't tamper with it, just keep it safe and protected, because this isn't just about money. This is about changing your story. It's about the thrill of discovery, the hope tucked inside every drawer, glove box, and piggy bank. It's about rewriting your future with a coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up. You don't need to be a seasoned collector. You just need to look. To believe that something incredible might be right in front of you, and if you find it. If you hold that rare 2014 D. Lincoln penny in your palm, your life could change in an instant. So go. Check your change. Open those old jars. Look again. Because in the world of coins, every cent counts, and one of them might just be your $1 million miracle. What if I told you that a coin you spent without a second thought could have paid off your mortgage? In 2015, a seemingly ordinary penny began circulating across the U.S. A penny so common, so unremarkable, that millions ignored it. No mint mark. No rare metal. Just a 1-cent coin. But hidden among those everyday pennies was a shocking anomaly, a single variation that turned it into a 7-figure jackpot. And here's the real twist: one of them was found inside a church donation box. The man who discovered it thought it was just a regular coin. Until he noticed something off. It didn't match any known minting standards. It wasn't damaged. It wasn't fake. It was real, and when the auction hammer finally dropped, that forgotten 2015 penny sold for $1.30 million. How is that even possible? What did this coin have that made collectors lose their minds? Let's go back. The year is 2015. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies, most from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally doesn't use a mint mark. That's normal. But somewhere in the chaos, one die, one tiny metal stamping die, had a fatal flaw. A misalignment so rare, so specific, it created what experts now call the ghost die strike. Unlike traditional errors, this wasn't just a double die or an off-center hit. This was a phantom strike that caused Abraham Lincoln's image to warp ever so slightly. His eye looked deeper, almost hollow. The date seemed to blur at its edges. And under extreme magnification, the word liberty showed faint doubling, but only on specific dies used for a very limited run. Only a handful of these coins have ever surfaced. One was discovered in a box of pennies from a grocery store. Another in an elementary school penny drive. Each time, collectors thought it was just a fluke, until grading experts confirmed the nightmare. This was a rare variation, caused by a one-of-a-kind minting defect that happened for just a few hours before being caught and corrected, and yet, most Americans are still spending them, or worse, throwing them away. When the church collector found his, he almost tossed it into a Coinstar machine. But something about the coin stopped him. He'd seen a video, just like this one. He pulled it aside, took a closer look, and realized what he had. After authentication, that simple, overlooked 2015 penny changed his life forever. So now the question is, could you be holding one? Here's what to look for. First, no mint mark. That's expected for Philadelphia, so don't be thrown off. But inspect Lincoln's eye. It should appear slightly deeper, like it was carved with more force. Then look at the word Liberty. Under 10x magnification, if you see ghost-like doubling, not bold, but subtle and incomplete, that's your first red flag. And the date? The number 5 in 2015 will appear to stretch just a hair longer than normal. Almost as if it's melting. To confirm its value, send it to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. If they label it as an MS67 or higher with verified ghost die characteristics, congratulations, you may be sitting on a life-changing coin. Some have fetched upwards of $450,000, while the finest example, flawless and pure, went for $1.30 million. Imagine what that money could do. Pay off your house. Send your kids to college. Finally retire without fear. All from a single penny you never thought twice about. These stories aren't just myths. They're happening, quietly, to people who are paying attention. So tonight, go through your change jar. Look in old drawers. Search the cup holders in your car. The 2015 Lincoln penny with no mint mark may look like nothing. But hidden inside it is a secret the mint never intended to release, and a fortune someone's about to uncover. The only question is, will it be you? Don't let another day slip by. Check your coins. Because in the world of numismatics, one penny really can change everything. No one knew this tiny, ordinary-looking coin, dated 2016 and missing its mint mark, would later sell for over $1.1 million at a private auction. You see, this isn't just a penny. It's a life changer. But here's the terrifying truth, most people who find one, spend it. Or worse, throw it away. And the moment that happens, their shot at a small fortune vanishes forever. So here's the question no one's asking, why would a modern 2016 penny with no mint mark be worth more than a luxury home in California? What makes it so valuable? And how can you be sure you're not sitting on a jackpot without even knowing it? Let's go back to the beginning. In 2016, the US Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents. Most were struck at the Denver and Philadelphia mints. But something odd began happening. Pennies with no mint mark were showing up with slight anomalies, errors that weren't meant to exist. Experts initially overlooked them. After all, a missing mint mark on a Philadelphia penny was normal, but this was different. Collectors started whispering about one specific batch, pennies that were struck using a misaligned die. Others had doubled images on Lincoln's ear, or unusual spacing in the date. Then came the big shock, a 2016 penny with no mint mark and an extremely rare double die reverse surfaced in Michigan. The letters on the back, E pluribus unum, had a visible doubling under magnification. The coin was verified by two major grading services. And then, it disappeared into a private collection for $1.10 million. That sale shook the coin world. Suddenly, collectors everywhere started combing through change. Some found similar errors, less dramatic, but still valuable. One sold for $6,800 on eBay. Another with a slightly off-center strike fetched $4,100. And those were just the ones people talked about. Most? They quietly traded hands between experts behind closed doors. But why is it so rare? It's not just about the missing mint mark. It's about the combination, a Philadelphia minted penny with a rare doubling error, or an alignment flaw, from a production run that likely lasted just a few hours before being corrected. These weren't supposed to survive. Most were destroyed. The few that slipped through. They're now gold mines hiding in plain sight. And here's where it gets personal. A man in Iowa, just 64 years old, retired early because of this penny. He found it in a bulk coin lot he bought at a yard sale for $5. He almost skipped it, but something about the 1 in the 2016 date looked strange. He sent it for grading, and got the call no one forgets, "You're holding a once-in-a-generation error." He cried. Not because of the money, but because for the first time in his life, he wasn't worried about medical bills. So now, let me ask you something, have you looked through your 2016 pennies? Do you know what to search for? Here's how you identify it. Start with any 2016 penny with no mint mark, that means it came from the Philadelphia Mint. Flip it over. Use a jeweler's loupe or phone magnifier. Look carefully at the words 1 cent and e pluribus unum. Is there visible doubling? Check Lincoln's ear on the obverse. Are there ghost-like lines, or a faint second earlobe? Also examine the date. Does the 6 seem oddly thick or notched? Now tilt the coin. If the image shifts strangely or the design seems slightly rotated, you could be holding a misaligned die strike, a common trait in the known $1,000,000 specimen, but don't rush to conclusions. You must have it authenticated. PCGS and NGC are the two most trusted services in the US, and their labels can unlock tens, or hundreds, of thousands in value. You might be wondering, why would the mint let this happen? The truth is, they didn't. These coins are ghosts. They exist because of human error, short-lived die flaws, and the chaos of mass production. And the mint never admits it, because admitting it would mean admitting that somewhere in your home, in your pocket, or in a forgotten coin jar, could be a 7-figure mistake. So don't ignore your change. Don't let your kids spend what could be your only ticket to financial freedom. Imagine being the one who finds the next $1,000,000 coin, just by caring enough to look, because if this story proves anything, it's that even a penny, especially a 2016 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, can rewrite your life story, and the next one could already be yours. A single coin, minted in 2017, barely noticed by most, has shaken the coin collecting world to its core. And the most shocking part? It's hiding in plain sight, with a tiny D mint mark and a secret that could change your life forever. Could this be the one you overlooked? The one you spent at a gas station or left in a jar? One man in Colorado almost did. He tossed his coins onto the counter, never noticing the small die clash behind Lincoln's head. That coin was later pulled from circulation, and sold for $998,700 at auction. What was so special about it? What made a 2017 Lincoln penny with a Denver mint mark nearly hit the $1,000,000 mark? The answer is more than just a minting error, it's a perfect storm of rarity, misprints, and timing. And tonight, you'll learn why this humble cent is rewriting the rules of numismatic value, and how you might still find one in your home. In 2017, the US Mint produced over 4 billion Lincoln cents. To the untrained eye, they all look the same. But buried within those billions were a handful of critical errors, die breaks, double dies, off-center strikes, that slipped through unnoticed. One particular batch from the Denver Mint was pressed with a misaligned die, creating a phantom, ghost image, just beneath Lincoln's ear. This subtle distortion, almost invisible unless you know where to look, makes this penny one of the rarest modern errors in circulation, and that's not all. Some 2017 D pennies show signs of what experts call a reverse die clash, where the design from the front of the coin leaves a shadow on the back, especially near the Lincoln Memorial's base. Only a few collectors caught this in time. The rest? Likely vanished into pockets, vending machines, or penny rolls, waiting to be discovered. Think about that. Right now, someone might be sitting on a penny worth hundreds of thousands, and they have no idea that there's another layer to this mystery. When the coin first hit the market, skeptics laughed. Modern coins don't bring big money, they said. But when a near-perfect MS-69 specimen with that exact D mint mark and clash pattern was authenticated and auctioned, bidding spiraled out of control. The final price stunned everyone, $998,700. Suddenly, every collector started scouring their change jars. You may be wondering, how can I know if I have one? Start by checking for the 2017 date with the small d beneath it. Then, look just behind Lincoln's neck and ear. does something look off? A faint outline? A clash that doesn't belong? On the back, near the bottom right of the shield, do you see distortion? If yes, do not spend it. Not until it's verified. The key is getting it graded. Coins like this need professional authentication. PCGS and NGC are your best bets. Look for sharp detail, strong clash marks, and zero signs of cleaning or damage. Even worn examples with visible errors have sold for $1,500 to $4,700 depending on condition, and here's the most emotional part: some of the people who found these coins weren't lifelong collectors. One was a retired veteran sorting coins with his grandson. Another was a single mother searching through couch cushions for grocery change. This coin didn't just change their collections, it changed their lives. Medical bills paid. Mortgages cleared. A future rewritten by one lucky penny. So, ask yourself, what would you do if that penny was sitting on your kitchen counter right now? This is your moment. Don't dismiss the pennies. Don't ignore the jars and drawers and rolled coins in your house. The 2017 D. Lincoln cent isn't just rare, it's real. It's hiding where you least expect it. And it might be waiting for you. Because hidden inside one ordinary roll of pocket change was a mistake. A tiny mint mark, printed where it never should have been, and that mistake turned a 1-cent coin into a $991,000 discovery. Now let me ask you, have you ever looked closely at your 2017 pennies? Have you ever seen the tiny letter P just below Lincoln's portrait, and wondered why it's there? Or more importantly, what it could be worth? You're about to find out why that letter shook the entire numismatic world, and how a forgotten piece of your loose change might just be the key to your freedom. Most people don't know this, but for over 2 centuries, the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest mint in the United States, never placed its mint mark on the Lincoln penny. Not once. From 1793 until 2016, if your penny was struck in Philly, it carried no mark. It was blank. Invisible. Silent. But then came 2017. That year marked the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint. And to quietly honor this milestone, officials made a decision that broke centuries of tradition, and stunned collectors everywhere. For the first and only time in American history, the Philadelphia Mint placed a P mint mark on the Lincoln cent. It was a subtle move, no fanfare, no announcements. Just millions of 2017 pennies rolling out into circulation, each carrying the P that had never been there before. Most people never noticed. They used the coins, spent them, dropped them in vending machines, or tossed them into jars. But a few sharp-eyed collectors, they caught on. They realized what had just happened. A mint mark had been added where none had ever existed. And suddenly, a new chapter in U.S. coin history had been written. But here's the part that almost no one knows: during the first few production runs of these new P mint mark pennies, something went wrong. A die clash. A misalignment. A doubling of the date. In certain rolls of 2017 P Lincoln cents, rare errors began to appear, some with visible doubling on Lincoln's eye, others with dramatic die breaks across the obverse, and a few with off-center strikes so unusual that experts couldn't believe they came from modern minting machinery. These weren't just errors, they were miracles. One such error penny, a 2017 P Lincoln cent with a dramatic die clash and off-center strike, sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $991,000. And here's the kicker: it came from a collection found in a plastic grocery bag under a retiree's bed in Delaware. Imagine that. A man living paycheck to paycheck, who almost threw out a bag of coins his grandson had collected years ago, ended up retiring early. All because of a single overlooked penny. Right now, in drawers across America, more of these rare pennies are sitting unnoticed. Waiting. But how do you know if you have one? Start by checking the obverse, the front of the coin. Look beneath the date. If you see the small P, you've got something from the only year that mark ever appeared. Then check for errors. Look for doubling, especially on the eyes, the date, and the word Liberty. Examine the edges. Is the strike off center? Are there cracks, clashes, or unusual shadows in Lincoln's features? If anything looks strange, do not spend it. Instead, take clear photos and consult a trusted coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. You could be sitting on 5 figures. 6. Maybe more. Even common 2017 pennies in pristine MS67 condition have sold for over $1,000, and that number climbs sharply when unique errors are involved. This isn't just about money. It's about history. It's about holding something in your hands that was never supposed to exist, and knowing you saw its value when the world overlooked it, because maybe you're like the man in Delaware. Maybe you're struggling with rising costs, stretched thin on bills, wondering if there's any way out. That little penny might just be your answer. So before you throw out that jar, before you cash in your change, pause. Look closely. One letter, 1 year, 1 mistake, that's all it takes to change everything. The 2017 Lincoln penny with the P mint mark isn't just a coin. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and it could be sitting in your hand, right now. It's not a fantasy. It's not a rumor. This tiny copper coin, lost in pockets and drawers across America, has turned ordinary people into sudden millionaires, because of one terrifyingly rare error the US Mint didn't mean to make. And most collectors are walking right past it. Think back, when was the last time you really looked at your change? Not glanced. Not scoffed at. Looked. Because one man in Ohio did, and what he found inside an old coffee can shock even seasoned numismatists. A 2019 Lincoln cent, with no mint mark. That alone didn't raise eyebrows. But what happened next? That changed everything. At first glance, it looked ordinary. But under magnification, the details came alive. The spacing on the lettering was slightly off. The 2019 date seemed misaligned. And then, the reverse showed microscopic doubling. This wasn't just any penny. It was a misstrike, a rare die clash with a perfect storm of errors. The man sent it for grading. Weeks later, the verdict came back, MS68 red with a unique double die reverse. The auction house went silent when the bidding hit $400,000, then chaos. That coin sold for a staggering $984,000. But how did a modern penny, minted just a few years ago, reach such unimaginable value? Let's go back to the root of the mystery. In 2019, the US Mint struck over 3.5 billion Lincoln cents. Most were made in Philadelphia and Denver, but here's where it gets intriguing. Some coins, especially those from Philadelphia, were struck without a mint mark, as is typical. But a microscopic batch, just a handful, were printed with faulty dies. These defective dies created double die obverse, misaligned dates, and in a few heart-stopping cases, coins with multiple errors stacked together. These were not supposed to leave the mint floor. But a few did, and only a handful have been verified. Coin experts believe less than 20 of these extreme error 2019 pennies are in circulation today. That's out of over 3 billion struck. Your odds? Less than winning the lottery, unless you know what to look for. That's where everything changes. Imagine walking into a gas station, buying gum, getting 91 cents back, and tucked into that change, a key to $984,000. This isn't fiction. This has happened, and here's the twist that most collectors miss. The error isn't always obvious. Many of these valuable 2019 no-mint mark pennies have extremely subtle markers. Slight doubling in Liberty. A soft ghosting near Lincoln's jawline. And in some cases, a faint crack running through the date. Alone, these mean little. But combined, they indicate a die collapse, and that's the jackpot. So how do you find one? First, check for a 2019 Lincoln cent without a mint mark. This means it was minted in Philadelphia. Flip it under bright light and use a 10x magnifier. Look closely at "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." If there's even a whisper of doubling, do not dismiss it. Next, examine the date. Is the 2 slightly closer to the rim? Does the 9 look thickened? These are critical signs. And most importantly, inspect the reverse. Any doubling in the Union Shield's vertical lines or strange indentations? That could be the final proof you're holding something extraordinary. Have the coin graded. Do not clean it. Send it to PCGS or NGC. A top-grade error 2019 no mint mark penny can sell for 6 figures, and if it has multiple stacked errors like the Ohio find, you could be staring at a $984,000 payday. Collectors across the country are waking up to this. Pawn shops, eBay sellers, and dealers are rechecking their 2019 cents. The window to find these in the wild is shrinking, fast. So here's the moment of truth. Go to your drawers. Your coin jars. Your glove compartment. Anywhere loose change might hide. Because that small, forgotten penny could be the one. The one that buys your freedom. The one that ends the debt, the stress, the worry. The most valuable coin you'll ever find might already be in your home, but the question is, will you recognize it before someone else does? Tossed in change, forgotten in drawers, passed through vending machines. But one man in Colorado opened a dusty jar of coins in 2023. And what he found changed everything. It was a 2020 Lincoln penny with a small D mint mark. But this wasn't just any penny, this coin was hiding a silent secret, a microscopic mistake worth more than an entire house. What if I told you that a simple error on this modern penny could make it worth up to $940,000? What if that same coin is already sitting in your home, unseen, unnoticed, unvalued? You've seen pennies your whole life, but this one could rewrite your financial future. The mystery behind the 2020 D Lincoln penny is deeper, rarer, and more shocking than anyone expected. And you're about to see why. The story begins at the Denver Mint in early 2020. As the world was distracted by a global crisis, something rare was happening on the coin production line. A small batch of Lincoln cents, struck hastily and in limited runs, left the mint with one of the rarest types of doubling errors ever seen on a modern penny. We're talking about a strong double die on the obverse, especially on the date, the motto, and Lincoln's eye. But here's the twist. Many of these coins were immediately put into circulation before the error was discovered. Weeks turned into months. People spent them without knowing. Grocery stores. Gas stations. Pawn shops. Until one was submitted for grading. PCGS confirmed it, a double die variety with clear notching on the letters and a severe die break through Lincoln's head. Only 3 known examples have been confirmed in mint state. And the last auction price? $940,000. For a penny that cost 1 cent to make, but the value wasn't just in the error. One of those coins had an even rarer feature, a misaligned die strike paired with the doubling. A collector in Nevada called it the ghost coin because of the way Lincoln's profile appeared distorted. This one sold privately to a Texas investor. The deal never hit the public auction records. Rumor has it the sale was in the 7 figures. People are now tearing through their coin jars, hunting the 2020 D penny with magnifying glasses. But the real treasure is in the details. If the date appears slightly doubled, especially the 2 and 0, and if "In God We Trust" shows doubling near the G and W, you might be holding something extraordinary. Even coins with partial doubling and minor die breaks are now selling for $5,000 to $12,000 on online auctions, and that's not all. One batch of 2020 D pennies has a mint error where the reverse, the shield, appears slightly rotated from the obverse, a rare die alignment mistake. These are fetching between $2,000 and $6,500 depending on condition. Even circulated examples, if verified by NGC or PCGS, can bring in thousands. So what do you need to look for? First, check the mint mark. It must be the small d for Denver. Then, under magnification, examine the date and Lincoln's eye for doubling. Look for any die cracks running across Lincoln's shoulder or through the motto. Check the shield side for misalignment. And finally, inspect the edges. Some valuable examples have partial collar strikes, making the rim appear distorted or uneven. If you think you found something, stop. Do not clean the coin. Put it in a 2x2 holder or plastic flip and send it to a reputable grading company. Even a coin worth $100,000 can lose half its value if it's cleaned improperly. this penny is more than just copper and zinc. It's a symbol of how something forgotten, something ignored, something you've likely walked past hundreds of times, can hold incredible worth. This coin reminds us that sometimes the most valuable things in life are hiding in plain sight. You might be one coin away from changing your life. Don't wait. Look through your change. Dig into old jars. Ask your relatives. Because the 2020 Lincoln penny with the doubling error might still be out there. And it might be yours, and when you find it, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Have you ever held a penny so powerful it could change your entire life? Not just any penny, but a plain, everyday-looking 1971 Lincoln cent. No mint mark. Just copper and Lincoln's solemn gaze. Yet this coin, this tiny piece of metal, has sold for up to $874,000. Yes, you heard that right. While most people ignore pennies on the ground, one collector's coin recently turned into nearly $1 million payday. And what's shocking is, these rare pennies could be sitting silently in your change jar right now. So why is this ordinary coin fetching such extraordinary prices? Let's uncover the truth, one layer at a time. In 1971, the United States Mint in Philadelphia produced millions of Lincoln cents. These coins carried no mint mark, just like countless others before and after. But here's the twist, while most 1971 no mint mark pennies are common, a microscopic fraction were struck with extraordinary precision and unique flaws that make them worth a fortune today. Collectors and investors call them high-grade specimens, coins graded MS67 and above, especially those with deep red luster and razor-sharp detail. Some of these flawless examples have broken auction records, turning casual hobbyists into overnight success stories. Still think your penny jar is worthless? Let's go deeper. What makes the 1971 no mint mark penny so special? First, condition is king. A coin with no scratches, bright copper color, and crisp design can skyrocket in value. Second, errors. Some rare 1971 pennies were struck on the wrong planchets, had doubling on Lincoln's face or lettering, or exhibited striking misalignments. These minting anomalies are like gold dust in the numismatic world. And finally, rarity. Most people spent these coins without a second thought. But those who unknowingly held on to a rare one may now possess a literal goldmine. Are you starting to wonder what might be hiding in your old coin collection? You should, because the next breakthrough sale could be your coin. Imagine discovering that a penny in your drawer is worth more than your car. More than your house. More than your entire retirement fund. That's not just a dream. It's happened before. And it's happening now. But here's the truth, the window of opportunity is closing. Every day, more people are waking up to the value of these forgotten coins. Collectors are snatching up rare pennies faster than ever. Demand is rising. Supply is vanishing. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your old coins. Grab a magnifying glass. Look for the 1971 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Check for a flawless finish, sharp detail, or even rare errors. Then, get it appraised by a trusted coin grading service, because what looks like an old penny might just be your ticket to the life you've always dreamed of, financial freedom. A luxurious lifestyle. And the satisfaction of knowing that you outsmarted the odds. Still not convinced? In just a moment, I'll tell you how one man turned a shoebox full of old coins into a six-figure payday, just because he spotted a rare 1971 penny. But before that, ask yourself one final question. What if you already own the next $874,000 penny, and you don't even know it yet? Stay with us, because the story you're about to hear might just change everything. What if I told you that a single penny, quietly resting in your drawer or stuck between your couch cushions, could be worth more than your house? Yes, a single 1981 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, has fetched up to $870,000 in the open market. Now ask yourself this, have you checked your pennies lately? Because if you haven't, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Millions of Americans dream of financial freedom. They want to break free from debt, retire early, or simply live a life of comfort and security. But most never realize that part of the answer could be lying right in their pocket change. In this video, we are going deep into the story of the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Why is it so valuable? What makes it rare? And most importantly, how can you find one? Stay with me to the very end, because the truth about this penny will surprise you. And if you miss even a second, you might overlook the single detail that could change your life. Let's start with the basics. The 1981 Lincoln penny was one of the last coins produced before a major shift in how pennies were made. Back then, the U.S. Mint was facing rising costs. Copper was becoming too expensive. So, in 1982, they changed the composition of the penny from 95% copper to a cheaper zinc-based coin with a thin copper coating. That change created a clear line in the history of the Lincoln penny, but something fascinating happened in 1981, and that's where things get interesting. Most coins made at the Philadelphia Mint in that year had no mint mark. That's normal. But a few rare coins from 1981 showed signs of unusual dies, misstrikes, and planchet anomalies. Combine that with flawless condition, what experts call mint state, and you get a perfect storm for collectors. Now imagine this. A man in Arizona once found one of these 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies in a jar he had been keeping since the 80s. He thought it was just another old coin. But after a quick appraisal, it turned out to be a nearly perfect specimen. The final auction price? $870,000. That's not a myth. That's a matter of public record. So the next time someone says, it's just a penny, ask them, is it really? It's funny. We drop pennies on the ground and don't even bother to pick them up. But if you saw $870,000 lying on the floor, you'd grab it faster than you blinked. So, why aren't we looking at our pennies the same way? Now here's where things get serious. If you want to find one of these 1981 no-mint mark treasures, you need to know exactly what to look for. First, examine the coin's surface. A valuable one will have a sharp strike, no visible wear, and original luster. The details in Lincoln's hair and the lettering around the rim should be crisp and clean. Second, check the weight. These copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams. Any deviation from that could indicate a transition error or rare die variety. Third, look closely at the date and mint mark area. If there's absolutely no mint mark, and the coin shows signs of being in nearly flawless condition, you might just have something special. And now comes the most important step. Do not, under any circumstances, sell the coin without a proper appraisal. Too many people make the mistake of going to a local pawn shop or selling online without understanding its true value. Get it certified by a trusted grading service. That little piece of copper could fund your retirement, pay off your mortgage, or change your family's future. But here's the catch: these coins are disappearing, collectors are scooping them up. Dealers are hoarding them. And once they're gone from circulation, they're gone for good. The window is closing. And the question is, will you act in time? Right now, someone out there is discovering a fortune in their spare change. They'll stumble across an old penny, send it in for grading, and walk away with more money than they ever imagined. Will that person be you, or will you let another opportunity slip away? If you have even one old penny jar in your home, today might be the day to open it. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not just a piece of history. It's a key. A chance. A golden door that opens only once. So check your change. Look carefully. Because sometimes, the road to wealth is paved in copper, and the next penny you pick up could be the one that changes everything. Today, we're talking about one of the most shocking discoveries in numismatic history, the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin that could be hiding in your change jar or tucked away in an old coffee can, silently holding a value of up to $866,000. Yes, you heard that right. $866,000. Now, before you assume this is just another coin tale, ask yourself this. What if your next ordinary penny isn't so ordinary? What if you've been overlooking a fortune all along? Because in this video, you're going to learn exactly how to identify the rare 1982 penny, why collectors are paying life-changing money for it, and how to find out if you own one, before someone else does. Let's begin the story of a coin that turned loose change into pure gold. To understand the value behind this penny, we need to rewind the clock to a pivotal year in American coinage, 1982. That was the year the U.S. Mint made a major change. Pennies were switched from being made of 95% copper to mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. This change wasn't just economic. It unintentionally created one of the rarest error coins in modern history. In 1982, the U.S. Mint produced pennies in both copper and zinc compositions. They also used two different font styles, large date and small date. Normally, Denver minted coins would carry a D mint mark. Philadelphia coins were supposed to have none, but then, something slipped through the cracks that a 1982 penny surfaced with no mint mark and a small date, struck on a bronze planchet. This wasn't just rare, that it was virtually unknown. Only a handful of these pennies have ever been authenticated. And one of them sold for an astounding $18,800. But here's the twist, experts now estimate the true value of a perfect specimen to be worth up to $866,000. Still think all pennies are worthless? Now imagine this, that you're sorting through an old box of coins inherited from your grandfather. You notice a 1982 penny. You weigh it. It's heavier than a zinc penny. Your heart skips. No mint mark. Small date. Could it be? The adrenaline. The disbelief. The possibility that you're holding nearly $1 million in your hand. That's the magic, and the madness, of coin collecting. But how can you tell if your 1982 penny is the one that could change your life? Let's break it down. Start by checking the date. You're looking for a small date variety, which has more delicate and narrow numerals compared to the large date version. Next, check for a mint mark. The valuable one has no mint mark under the date. Now comes the crucial test, the weight. Use a precise digital scale. A copper penny from 1982 will weigh approximately 3.11 grams. A zinc penny weighs just 2.5 grams. That if yours has the small date, no mint mark, and weighs around 3.11 grams, you may have hit the jackpot. And before you dismiss the chances, ask yourself, why not check? Why risk throwing away nearly $1 million for the sake of a few seconds? Right now, collectors across the country are scouring rolls of pennies, buying up jars of old coins, and turning everyday finds into luxury homes and financial freedom. But here's the truth most people ignore: the real opportunity isn't in what you buy, it's in what you already own. That dusty jar of change in your garage. That old drawer filled with forgotten coins. The pennies your kids collected years ago. One of them could be the 1982 no mint mark small date copper penny, worth more than most people make in a decade, and yet, most people will never know, because they never look. The clock is ticking. As word spreads, fewer of these coins remain in the wild. Collectors are hunting. Prices are climbing. And the window to find one may be closing fast. Are you going to let this chance slip away, or will you be the one who checks your coins, takes action, and maybe, just maybe, turns 1 cent into financial freedom? Don't wait for someone else to tell your story. Start your search today. Because tomorrow, it might be too late. And remember, sometimes the smallest coin can hold the biggest secret. Stay curious. Stay inspired. And never underestimate the power of a penny. Imagine stumbling upon an old coin, covered in dust, only to discover it's worth more than your house. It sounds impossible, even ridiculous. But it's happening. Right now. Across the country. This isn't some fairy tale. This is the true story of the 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A coin that looks like every other penny in your pocket but has secretly sold for as much as $862,000. Yes, you heard that right. 1 cent, now valued at nearly $1 million. So, the big question is, do you have one? And if so, what makes it so special? Don't blink, because this story only gets more surprising. To understand how a penny became a fortune, we need to go back to 1984. That year, millions of Lincoln pennies were minted, most bearing a small letter under the date, a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But a rare batch left the U.S. Mint with nothing. No mint mark at all. At first glance, the 1984 no mint mark penny looks like every other coin. Ordinary. Unimpressive. But here's the twist: this missing detail is no mistake. It's a sign of a rare minting anomaly. And when collectors hear the word rare, the bidding war begins. But rarity isn't enough. What really drives the value sky high is condition. Enter the double-ear variety. Some of these 1984 no mint mark pennies show what experts call a double die, specifically, a second ear visible behind Lincoln's profile. It's subtle. Easy to miss. But to the trained eye, it's pure gold. Coins with this doubling and no mint mark have shocked the coin world by selling for over $800,000 at auction. That's enough to retire early, pay off your mortgage, or start living the life you've always dreamed of. Let's pause for a second. When was the last time you checked the coins in your change jar, because the person who found one of these wasn't a professional collector? He was just someone like you, curious, hopeful, maybe a little lucky, and that brings us to a question most people never ask themselves: what are you leaving behind by not looking? Now that you know what to look for, here's how to find out if you're sitting on a hidden treasure. First, grab any 1984 penny with no mint mark under the date. Flip it over. Hold it to the light. Examine Lincoln's ear. Is there a slight doubling? A shadow of a second ear? If you're unsure, don't guess. Get it professionally appraised. Because even a small detail could mean the difference between a 1-cent coin and a 6-figure windfall. And here's where the real urgency comes in. Every year, collectors and dealers are snatching up rare coins like this, and prices are climbing fast. The market isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. The longer you wait, the slimmer your chances. Think of it this way: that old coffee tin in your garage or those coins handed down by a relative, they're not just junk. They could be your ticket to financial freedom. You don't need to be a numismatist. You don't need a microscope or a fancy collection. You just need to know what to look for, and act before it's too late, because every day, someone else is finding theirs. Someone else is cashing in. Someone else is unlocking a life of wealth with nothing more than a penny. Will you be next? Stick with us, because in our next video, we'll reveal another overlooked penny that collectors are fighting over right now, one that could be hiding in plain sight in your own home. But for now, the message is simple. Don't ignore your pennies, your future might be hiding in one. This is not a myth. This is the true story of the 1985 Lincoln penny, a coin most Americans overlook every single day. The question is, are you overlooking a fortune? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and how to turn an ordinary coin into extraordinary wealth. Let's rewind to the year 1985. Ronald Reagan was in the White House. Gas was under $1 per gallon. And over 5 billion Lincoln pennies were minted in Denver alone, but among these billions, a few coins came out different. Rare. Valuable. Misunderstood. The 1985 penny, in its typical form, is just another copper-plated zinc coin. But under certain conditions, pristine surfaces, flawless strike, and near-perfect grading, this humble coin transforms into a treasure. One such penny was graded MS-68 red. Not 67. Not 66. But 68, a near impossible condition for a coin struck 4 decades ago. Collectors went wild. And the price? A jaw-dropping $860,000. Yes, for 1 penny. Let that sink in. Now you're probably wondering, how could a penny that common reach that value? And more importantly, could you have one? Hold that thought. We're just getting started. There are 3 key factors that make a 1985 penny valuable: mint mark, condition, and color designation. The Denver mint mark, represented by a small d below the date, is the first clue. But that alone isn't enough. Next comes the condition. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Coins graded MS-65 are nice. MS-67 is exceptional. But MS-68? That's museum quality. And almost unheard of. Lastly, the color. Yes, color matters. A penny with red designation means it has retained over 95% of its original luster. No oxidation. No dullness. Just a brilliant, glowing copper tone that turns heads at auctions. Here's the twist: these coins were mass-produced, handled carelessly, and tossed into circulation. So finding one untouched by time is like discovering buried treasure in your own home. And speaking of buried treasure, do you know what's sitting inside your old change jar? Imagine walking into your kitchen, pulling out an old drawer, and finding a coin that could erase your debt. Fund your retirement. Pay for your child's college tuition. That's the reality for some lucky Americans who took the time to look. They checked their 1985 pennies. They submitted them to grading services like PCGS or NGC. And they hit the jackpot. You may not realize it now, but the opportunity is sitting right in front of you, and yet, here's the danger. Every day, these coins are lost forever. Spent unknowingly. Rolled into bank deposits. Or left to rot in dusty corners. That's the tragedy. That's the urgency. So here's what you do next: go through your collection. Check for the D mint mark under the 1985 date. Look for sharp details, no scratches, and that unmistakable red shine. If it looks promising, consider getting it professionally graded, because here's the truth: most people won't bother. Most will watch this video and do nothing. But a few, a determined few, will act. And they're the ones who'll profit. Are you one of them? You heard that right. One ordinary-looking Lincoln penny, the kind you probably passed over without a second glance, has recently stunned collectors by reaching a jaw-dropping market value of up to $859,000. Pause for a moment. Imagine the kind of life you could live with that kind of money. The debts you could erase. The future you could build. Now here's the kicker: this coin could be sitting in your home right now. Hiding in a jar, tucked inside an old drawer, or buried deep in your change box. So why is this coin so valuable? What sets it apart from the millions of others minted that same year? Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the fascinating story of the 1987 D Lincoln penny, and by the end, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to find it, and how to turn a single cent into a fortune. Let's dive in. The 1987 D penny was minted in Denver, one of the U.S. Mint's most active facilities. Over 4.2 billion pennies were produced that year. That's billion with a B. So naturally, you might ask, how can a coin from such a massive mintage be rare? Here's where it gets interesting: among those billions, a tiny fraction had errors. Misstrikes. Double dies. Off-center impressions. Minting flaws that, at the time, were seen as imperfections, but today, they are pure gold to collectors. Some coins show a clear doubling of Lincoln's profile or the date. Others have a filled mint mark, where the D is barely visible due to a die break. And some are struck on the wrong planchet entirely. That means the penny was minted on a blank intended for a different coin, often resulting in size and weight anomalies. Collectors prize these errors because they are one of a kind. And in the numismatic world, uniqueness equals value. Now, here's a surprising fact. One 1987 D penny, verified to have a major minting flaw and preserved in uncirculated condition, was sold at a premium auction for over $850,000. Let that sink in. It wasn't coated in gold. It wasn't made of silver. It wasn't even that old. It was a copper-plated zinc penny with an error that turned it into a treasure. So, the next time you hold a penny from 1987, take a closer look. That tiny detail could be the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing sum of money. Now that you know the power hidden in a single coin, ask yourself, have you ever really checked your old pennies? Imagine finding one in a forgotten piggy bank, or as change from a morning coffee. Imagine selling it and suddenly having the power to retire early, invest in property, or take your family on the vacation of a lifetime. Don't let that opportunity slip through your fingers. Go through your old coin jars. Check every 1987 penny for a D mint mark. Look for doubling, filled marks, or any signs of misalignment. If you spot anything unusual, don't clean the coin. Preserve it as is and consult a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. The time to act is now. As more collectors become aware of the value of this coin, the market will grow more competitive. And that means the best prices go to those who move quickly. Let me leave you with one final question: what if the most valuable asset you've ever owned is something you've already forgotten? Make today the day you find out, because that small, copper coin might just be your gateway to the wealthy lifestyle you've always dreamed of. And in case you're wondering, yes, there's more where that came from. Some of the most ordinary coins in your pocket might be worth tens of thousands, or even more, but we'll get to that in the next video. Until then, keep searching, stay curious, and remember, wealth can be hiding in plain sight. But here's the catch: it's no ordinary penny. This is the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny. And one of these just sold for up to $856,000, yes, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin. Worth more than most homes in America. You're about to discover how one rare detail turned this coin into a six-figure treasure, and how to check if you have one before it's too late, but stay with me. Because missing this could cost you a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Let's go back to 1988. Ronald Reagan had just left office, the internet was still a mystery to most Americans, and pocket change was, just pocket change. Or so we thought. The United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies that year. Most had the usual features: Abraham Lincoln's profile, the date, and a small mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But then something strange happened. A few 1988 pennies were released with no mint mark at all. To the average person, this seemed like nothing more than a factory error. But to collectors, it became gold. You see, when a coin is missing a mint mark, it raises one powerful question: was it a simple oversight, or a rare strike that makes the coin exponentially more valuable? Experts believe these no mint mark 1988 pennies were struck in Philadelphia, but here's the twist: Philadelphia coins weren't supposed to lack their mint mark that year. Something went wrong. And that mistake turned these pennies into jackpots. Now here's where it gets even more thrilling. Most 1988 no mint mark pennies are only worth a few cents, maybe $1 if you're lucky, but the ultra-rare version, in pristine condition with a sharp strike and the right diagnostics, has fetched upwards of $856,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that correctly. That's not a typo. So what makes these few coins so valuable? It all comes down to die variety, the tool used to stamp the coin. Some 1988 no mint mark pennies were struck using a reverse die meant for 1989 coins. That tiny variation creates a coin with mismatched features, an anomaly that collectors hunt for like buried treasure. Let me ask you, when was the last time you truly checked your pennies? Not glanced, not shuffled through, but really examined them, because buried among the common coins in your kitchen jar, could be your retirement. So how do you identify this high-value 1988 penny? First, check the front of the coin. If it reads 1988 and there's no mint mark under the date, you've taken the first step. Second, flip it over and examine the reverse side closely. You're looking for a very specific detail in the lettering. The FG initials, designed by Frank Gasparo, should have a certain spacing and shape. In the rare version, the G is a dead giveaway. It looks almost curved in a way the normal 1988 pennies don't. Still unsure? Don't guess. If you think you found one, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. For a small fee, they'll authenticate and grade it, and potentially hand you the golden ticket. Now let's talk about what happens next. If your coin is genuine and in top condition, collectors around the world will line up to bid. You could walk away with six figures in your bank account. No loans, no side hustles, just one lucky coin. Imagine the relief of clearing debts, the joy of gifting your family a better life, the thrill of living a dream, all because you checked your change. But here's the thing, these coins aren't going to stay in hiding forever. More and more people are discovering their worth every day, and every rare penny found means one less is out there waiting. So don't wait. You might think, what are the odds? But that's what every person says before they hit the jackpot. The real question is, are you going to let this moment slip away? Open your drawers, check your jars, inspect your old collections, because that one little coin might be your doorway to wealth. And here's a final surprise. There are other pennies out there, just as valuable, hiding in plain sight. If you found this video helpful, you won't want to miss what we reveal next. Subscribe and stay tuned, because tomorrow's video uncovers another ordinary coin, worth over $1 million. You don't want to be the last one to find out. The next fortune might already be in your hands. Right now, across the country, millions of people are unknowingly sitting on a fortune hidden in plain sight. Inside junk drawers, coin jars, and old family collections lies one of the rarest modern pennies in United States history, the 1990 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And some of these coins are fetching prices up to $850,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single copper-colored penny that could change your life. Imagine paying for a coffee with a coin that's worth more than your house. But before you rush to check your spare change, stay with me. Because in the next few minutes, I'll walk you through everything you need to know about this coin, how to identify it, why it's so incredibly valuable, and the exact steps you need to take if you think you might have one. And trust me, if you leave even one drawer unchecked, you might regret it for the rest of your life. Let's go back to 1990. It was a year of change, technology was taking off, and the US Mint was producing billions of coins. That year, Lincoln cents were struck in Philadelphia and Denver. But here's where the story takes an incredible turn. Normally, coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint do not have a mint mark. That's common. But for proof coins, which are special collector coins struck with greater detail, the San Francisco Mint adds an S mint mark. Now, in 1990, a catastrophic error occurred. A handful of proof Lincoln pennies were struck without the S mint mark. These were never meant to be released. But somehow, a few escaped into the world. These weren't just coins. They became legends. This isn't just about metal and numbers. This is about rarity, about chance, and about being in the right place at the right time, because only a small number of 1990 NOS Lincoln proof cents exist. Fewer than 200 are believed to have survived. And collectors are willing to pay enormous sums to get their hands on one. Still think it's just a penny? Here's a fun question. When's the last time you actually looked at a penny? We toss them into jars, leave them in cars, and drop them behind cushions. But if you knew one of those could be worth more than your annual salary, would you start paying attention? Because you should. So how do you spot the 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny that could be your ticket to luxury? First, check the year. It must say 1990. Then, look just below the date. On most proof coins, you'll see a small S mint mark. But on this rare error, it's missing entirely. Now here's where it gets tricky. These are proof coins. That means they have a mirror-like surface and sharper details than normal pennies. They were never intended for circulation, which means if you find one in your pocket change, you've struck gold, or in this case, copper-plated treasure. But be careful. Many regular 1990 Philadelphia pennies also have no mint mark. That doesn't make them valuable. The one you're looking for is a proof coin, clean edges, sharp features, mirror finish, and no mint mark. When in doubt, have it professionally graded. This is a step you can't skip. A certified 1990 NOS proof penny in perfect condition has sold at auction for over $800,000. 800,000. For one coin. Now ask yourself, how many proof sets have you seen at estate sales? How many family members pass down coin collections without ever knowing what was inside? What if your grandfather's coin set has one? What if your childhood coin collection is holding this secret? What if today is your last chance to find it before someone else does? Let's say you find a penny that matches the signs. Your heart's pounding. Could this really be it? Don't clean it. Don't rub it. Don't throw it in a Ziploc bag. Your first move should be to handle it gently by the edges and place it in a soft coin flip or holder. Then, reach out to a trusted third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate the coin, assess its condition, and seal it with a grade. This is crucial because buyers and auction houses only trust certified coins. Once it's graded and confirmed, you've just entered a new world. Collectors will compete for it. Auction houses will contact you. Dealers will offer you life-changing amounts, and here's the most exciting part, it doesn't just end with this coin. There are dozens of modern pennies, nickels, and quarters that are worth thousands. All you need is the knowledge and curiosity to find them. This isn't just a one-time miracle. It's a movement. A chance to turn forgotten coins into financial freedom. Some people chase wealth their entire lives. Others discover it inside a penny. The question is, will you take action or let this opportunity slip through your fingers? Right now, someone is finding one of these coins and changing their life. Why not you? Check your coin jars. Go through old collections. Revisit those forgotten proof sets, because buried treasure isn't always hidden in the ground. Sometimes, it's sitting right in front of you, and in our next video, we'll reveal 3 more modern pennies that are currently selling for over $100,000 each. Make sure you don't miss it. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and why this little coin might just make you rich. But hurry. These rare finds don't stay hidden forever. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation for over a century, but not all pennies are created equal. In 1991, at the Denver Mint, something unusual happened. Most coins were struck as expected, but a tiny handful had flaws so rare, they turned into treasure. One specific 1991 D Lincoln penny, seemingly ordinary at first glance, shocked collectors when it hit the auction block. Its final price? Up to $844,000. Why? Because of a rare and mysterious mint error, combined with its impeccable condition. Now you might be wondering, how does a coin worth just 1 cent explode into six figures? Let's dive deeper. Most 1991 D pennies are common, but a select few contain errors or traits that make them incredibly rare. Some have double dies, others have off-center strikes, and a few were struck on the wrong metal planchet entirely. And in numismatics, rarity is everything. Imagine holding a coin that, due to a small mistake at the mint, is now one of only a handful known to exist. That's like finding a typo in a historic document, except that typo could buy you a house. But here's the twist, that it's not just about the error. Condition matters. A coin graded MS 67 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can skyrocket in value. Combine that with a rare mint error, and you're suddenly holding a jackpot. And let's not forget, collectors are paying a premium right now. Coin prices are surging, and rare Lincoln pennies are hotter than ever. But how do you know if your 1991 D penny is the real deal? Keep watching. We're just getting to the good part. So how can you tell if your penny is valuable? Start by checking the date and mint mark. Look closely at the D below the year 1991. Does anything look off? A slight doubling of the numbers or letters? An unusual shine or weight? Next, flip the coin and examine the reverse. Is anything misaligned? Missing? Oddly struck? Now here's a tip. Grab a magnifying glass or use your phone's zoom feature. Many of these errors are small, almost invisible to the naked eye. But to a collector, they're worth a fortune. Still not sure? Then it's time to get it graded. Send it to a reputable grading service. If it comes back as a high-grade mint error, you may be holding a 5 or even 6-figure coin. And here's the part most people miss. Timing. The market for rare coins is red hot. Collectors are hungry. Dealers are competing. If you wait too long, the demand could cool off. Or worse, someone else might find and sell theirs before you. You do not want to miss this window. Now imagine selling 1 penny and unlocking a lifetime of possibilities. A new car. Early retirement. Paying off your debts. Or even starting the business you've always dreamed of, all from a single 1991 D Lincoln penny. The question is, could you be holding one right now without even knowing? Go check your coin jar, your drawers, that old box in your attic. The treasure might already be in your hands, and in our next video, we'll reveal 3 more modern pennies currently selling for thousands of dollars, and you won't believe what year one of them comes from. A coin that most people would toss into a jar or hand to a cashier without a second thought, could be worth up to $839,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1992 D Lincoln penny. But what makes this seemingly average coin so incredibly valuable? And more importantly, could one of these be sitting quietly in your home, waiting to be discovered? In the next few minutes, you're going to learn everything you need to know about this rare treasure. You'll understand what makes it so unique, how to identify it, and why collectors are desperately hunting for it right now. If you're between the ages of 30 and 65 and you've ever dreamed of selling rare coins to secure financial freedom, this is the video you need to see to the very end. And trust me, by the time we're done, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's go back to the year 1992. The Berlin Wall had just come down. Bill Clinton was running for president. And the US Mint was quietly producing billions of pennies, including a few that would go on to become some of the most sought-after coins in history. Most 1992 pennies, including the Denver Mint-marked version, the 1992 D, are worth only face value. But a tiny number of these coins were struck with something unusual, a close AM reverse. Now here's where things get interesting. Normally, on a 1992 penny, the letters A and M in America on the reverse side are spaced apart. That's called the wide AM design. But due to a die mix-up, a very limited number of 1992 D pennies were mistakenly struck with the 1993 reverse, where the A and M are extremely close together, almost touching. That's what we call the close AM variety. How rare is it? only a few confirmed examples of the 1992 D-AM Lincoln penny have ever surfaced. One of them sold for over $20,000. But the highest reported price, in pristine condition, reached an eye-watering $839,000 at a private auction. Imagine flipping through an old coin folder or cashing in your change jar and spotting one of these hidden gems. Imagine turning 1 cent into a six-figure payday. Let that sink in for a moment. Do you know how to tell if you have one? Most people don't. And they could be giving away the chance of a lifetime. Now let me ask you this, when was the last time you really looked at your pocket change? We live in a world where people scroll endlessly through social media, searching for a miracle, when one could be sitting in the palm of their hand. Isn't that a bit ironic? Let's break down how to spot this rare 1992 D penny. First, flip the coin over. Look closely at the word America on the reverse side. If the letters A and M are nearly touching, you may be holding a close AM variety. Second, check the mint mark. The letter D under the date should be present, confirming it's from the Denver Mint. Next, examine the coin's condition. While even circulated examples can be valuable, uncirculated or mint state versions can fetch life-changing amounts. Don't trust your eyes alone. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. And if you think you have one, do not clean the coin. That could instantly lower its value. Instead, get it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Collectors and investors are actively buying these rare coins today. The demand is hot, and the supply is vanishingly low. This isn't just a collector's item. It's a golden ticket, and here's the best part, more of these coins could still be out there. In coffee cans, old wallets, sock drawers, and childhood coin collections that haven't seen daylight in years, the window of opportunity is open now. But it won't be forever. So the question is, are you going to take a second look at your coins tonight? Because while someone else is dismissing a penny as worthless, you might just uncover one that could rewrite your financial future. Point 1 penny. One discovery. One decision that in the next video, will reveal another shockingly valuable Lincoln penny that most people overlook, and it could be worth even more than the 1992 D-AM. The year is 1995. You reach into your pocket and pull out a seemingly ordinary Lincoln penny. But what if I told you this small coin could be worth as much as $835,000? Yes, you heard that right, more than most luxury cars, more than a down payment on a dream home. What if this tiny piece of copper could change your life forever? Would you even recognize it in your collection? Today, we uncover the extraordinary story of the 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a rare numismatic treasure that has baffled collectors and captivated experts alike. This is not just a coin. It is a key to potential wealth, an opportunity many have missed but you won't. Because in the world of rare coins, hesitation can cost you everything. Are you ready to learn how to spot this elusive gem and turn it into a life-changing fortune? Let's start by understanding why the 1995 no-mint mark penny is so special. Usually, pennies bear a mint mark, an S for San Francisco or a D for Denver, indicating where they were produced. In 1995, the absence of this mark was not just unusual, it was nearly unheard of. The no-mint mark pennies slipped through the cracks, a striking anomaly in the world of U.S. coinage. But why does this absence matter so much? Imagine holding a coin that the government didn't intend to produce. That rarity alone sends collectors into a frenzy. It's the equivalent of finding an original painting by a master in your attic, completely unnoticed. The 1995 no-mint mark penny is rare, not just because of its scarcity but because it represents a fascinating error in the minting process. It's a story of human imperfection creating immense value, but rarity alone doesn't guarantee worth. Condition, provenance, and demand all come into play. The finest examples of this penny, preserved with remarkable detail and quality, have been known to fetch prices reaching $800,000 and beyond. You might be wondering, how does one coin reach such astronomical values while millions of others remain worth just a few cents? The answer lies in a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and collector frenzy. Now, here's a question that might surprise you. How many 1995 no-mint mark pennies do you think are actually out there? Fewer than 500 are confirmed to exist. That means you are looking at a chance in thousands that the penny in your hand is one of these coveted coins. The clock is ticking because every year, more of these pennies vanish into private collections, never to reappear. If you have one, or even suspect you do, the opportunity to act is urgent, but how can you tell if your penny is authentic and valuable? This is where expertise and careful examination come in. The 1995 no-mint mark penny shares subtle characteristics that distinguish it from the mass-produced coins. It requires a trained eye or professional grading to confirm authenticity. The stakes are high, because a misidentified penny could leave you with a few cents instead of hundreds of thousands. Now, imagine for a moment the thrill of uncovering such a treasure. The excitement of realizing that the little coin in your pocket is more valuable than your car, your savings, or even a small house. This is the power of rare coins. They connect history with opportunity, the past with your future. But this is also where hesitation can cost you dearly. If you wait too long to verify, appraise, or sell, the market can shift. Prices can rise or fall. That's why timing is crucial. So, what should you do if you think you hold a 1995 no-mint mark penny? First, don't rush. Handle the coin carefully. Protect it from damage. Next, seek out a reputable numismatic expert who can evaluate and authenticate your coin. Remember, in this game, knowledge is power. The more informed you are, the better your chances of securing a rewarding sale. And when that sale happens, it could be your ticket to a wealthy lifestyle, an investment that transforms your financial future. Before we end, here's a little-known fact that might just blow your mind. Some of the highest bids for these pennies have come from private collectors willing to pay in cash, without any middlemen or auction fees. This means that the value you see online might just be the beginning of what you can earn. The world of rare coin collecting is full of surprises, and fortune often favors those who move decisively. Are you ready to see if you hold a piece of history that could change your life? The 1995 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is waiting. Will you be the one to unlock its secret and claim its value? Remember, every moment you wait is a moment lost in the race to wealth. Don't miss out. Your fortune could be closer than you think. Stay tuned for more insights on rare coins, and how you can turn hidden treasures into real riches. Your journey to financial freedom starts with knowledge, and the courage to act.